Welcome to the Career Catapult, the place where driven women leaders learn how to land skip-level promotions to the C-suite without the burnout so they can lead with confidence, exponentially increase their earnings, and enjoy full lives simultaneously. I am your host, Stella Odogu, executive coach and leadership consultant to Fortune 500 companies and beyond. Let's do this. Hello there, and welcome to the Career Catapult podcast. You are listening to a very special throwback episode as we are hand selecting the best of the best episodes and sharing them with you here so you never miss a thing. So sit back and enjoy today's throwback, and we will see you on the next one. Welcome to the show. I am delighted that you are here for this one. This is going to be one of those episodes that you likely need to take action on right away, and we'll probably come back to over and over and over as your career evolves. This conversation is going to be centered on one word: intention. Intention, okay? I want you to imagine two different women, both in the same field of study, same industry. Both of them have strong ambitions for the C-suite. Both of them have the same pedigree in terms of their educational background, their years of experience. Pretty much everything is in line, right? Same family dynamics. All the things that you can account for appear to be the same on the surface. And yet, 15 years after starting their careers, one of them is in the C-suite and the other is a senior manager. One's in the C-suite, the other is a senior manager. Okay, what is the difference? What made the difference for both of these women? And I will, spoiler alert, as we get started, it is intention. It is having the right intention for how you are navigating your career, having the right intention for what you are saying yes to in your career, for how you are spending every single day, every single week, every month, quarter, and year in your career. There's no idle time. There's no wasted time. It is intentional. And that is truly how a person gets to the top in 15, 20 years, while the other person, same amount of time has passed, but is a senior manager. Now, if you're happy at the senior manager level, then that's great. But both had strong ambitions for the C-suite, and only one of them was able to do that. And I attribute it to having the right level of intention and clarity. And from that place of intention, knowing exactly what the steps needed to be to make that happen. Okay. See, without the intention, you'll take the same job 5 times. Without the intention, you'll say yes to things out of desperation and fear. Without the intention, you'll let large amounts of time go by with people telling you, oh, just wait for next year, wait till next year, wait for the budget, wait for this and this and that. Meanwhile, your time is what's being wasted. That's what happens when you don't have the right intention. So what I want to do in this episode is give you what the elements of your career development plan and roadmap really ought to be, so that you are being 100% intentional about how you are navigating your career, so that by the time you are, you get to wherever it is you want to be, you have what you want to have. You have the income, the impact, and the well-being to show for it, right? You can pinpoint, okay, this is exactly how much time has passed, and here's what I wanted to have happen, and here's what has in fact happened. Okay, so how does a person have maximum intention in their career? Despite all the headwinds, despite all the possible distractions, despite all the naysayers, all the things that can come up, how do you have maximum intention? I'm going to give you 5 elements that I want you to have and keep near and dear to you, so that as you think through your decisions in your career, you have what you need to be successful. Let's dive in. Number 1, you have to work on your mindset and your confidence. Mindset and confidence. Okay, you have to have the right foundation, and that is in fact your mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, your everything really, you don't have the right foundation. Okay, and unfortunately, this is one of the hardest ones to detect. Most people are not really aware of what their mindset is. And your mindset is simply what you believe. These are the thoughts that you're having. This is your belief system, and it's what will govern everything that you do. Let's take the example of navigating burnout. I would argue, and you may have heard me say this before, that burnout isn't about your job or the number of hours that you're working or any of that. It simply comes down to your mindset. It is a mindset that allows you to allow your boundaries be eroded. It's the mindset that allows you to stay in a role that is no longer fulfilling. All the things that you are likely blaming other people for come back to your mindset, your perception of yourself, your belief about yourself and what you are capable of, what you're worthy of, what you can have. That is all stemming from your mindset. And so there's real mindset work that needs to be done. And if you've not done that mindset work, or if you've done it at one point, but then you've kind of fallen off and you've gotten busy, I'm here to tell you it is the most important thing for you to work on, because all of your outcomes are as a result of what you are thinking. And your thoughts are creating that belief system. And ultimately, your belief system becomes automatic. It becomes calcified, all right? And so you don't even really realize that you're thinking certain things because they're automatic thoughts. And so what you really want to do is open up the hood and examine what those thoughts are, especially if the outcomes that you're having are not in line with where you want to be. Okay, so mindset and confidence, super important. That is number one. It's a whole topic on its own, okay? But I want you to really start to think about this. Think about, what is my current mindset? What am I thinking about myself? You know, what is true about how I see myself? And I bet you when you ask yourself those questions brutally honestly, you will start to see some answers emerge. Okay, but this is the first place you want to start when it comes down to the intention. I can tell you that the woman who went to the C-suite in a 15-year time period had to have the belief in herself, because most people don't do it. So you know she had some naysayers along the way. You know she had some people saying, can we promote someone that quickly? Isn't she too young? Can she do this? You know she had to deal with that. You know she had to deal with possible distractions. I think oftentimes we look at people who are that successful and we think they just didn't have all the turmoil that we have in our lives. We think that we are the only ones who have that turmoil. And you think that someone who's successful at that level, someone who's making $500,000, who's leading and having significant impact, and who makes it look easy on the outside, you think their life isn't, a three-ring circus like yours is. We all have that three-ring circus going on. Nobody's perfect. And yet, it's a strong mindset that makes you say, I'm going to do this in spite of. I'm going to do this no matter what. And having that unshakable confidence in yourself, that is your best asset. It's the number one asset that is going to catapult you and propel you to your destination. Let's go to number 2. The second thing that you have to have as part of your career development blueprint, if you will, is to become the obvious choice for your next internal promotion. You have to learn how to become the obvious choice for an internal promotion. You see, you don't want to be the kind of person who always has to exit a company in order to get promoted. If you look at your career right now and you're like, you know what? Every major promotion I've ever had, I had to leave to get it. I'm here to tell you that there might be something for you to examine there. The first time it happens, maybe okay. It was just a budget constraint. They just didn't see your value. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if you look back and it's become a pattern, then you probably don't know how to get promoted internally. You probably are very good at creating that external brand. But once someone hires you and brings you on, you don't know how to become promotion ready, achieve promotion readiness, right? And that's an important skill. You have to become the kind of person who is the obvious choice. Because here's the thing, there are fewer VPs than there are directors. There are fewer SVPs than there are VPs. There are fewer chief roles than there are SVP roles. As you move up in corporate, it's a pyramid. There are fewer spots at the top, which means that there is competition. And the higher up you go, the more fierce the competition is. So how do you distinguish yourself into becoming that top 1% at your level that gets promoted? I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a mindset shift here. I'm going to give you a game changer for you that's going to disrupt the way you've been thinking about this. Okay. It is not about your functional expertise. Okay. Becoming the obvious choice for a promotion internally, whether that's to VP, SVP, or even director, wherever you are, it is not about your functional expertise. It is not about how well you know the subject matter, HR, IT, finance, operations. It really isn't about that. It's about leadership. And leadership is not the same thing as expertise, right? Functional expertise and leadership, two different things. In fact, I would argue they are in contrast with each other. The person who's cultivating maximum functional expertise is likely not a great leader. Okay. And again, this is a whole other can of worms that we need to unpack separately, but I want you to start to think about what this means for you and how you've been showing up. Can it be said of you that you have the presence of the leader? Can it be said of you that when people interact with you, they do believe they're interacting with the leader who is at the level that you're seeking? Or are you mired in the minutiae of functional expertise and being in the weeds, right? These are things for you to think about. Do I know how to land a promotion internally in 12 months? That's really my rule of thumb. Within 12 months of joining a company, can you be promoted? Even against the company's own stated policies, the company may say, we don't promote someone who hasn't been at the company for 2 years. We don't promote anyone who hasn't been in their job for at least 18 months. These are all stated policies that most companies have. And yet, I have managed to be promoted within 6 months of joining a company, and our clients have too. So this is a chance for you to also examine the thoughts, like we said in number one, examine the mindset and the thoughts that you have and these rules that you've held fast to that are standing in your way. And one of them is that you think cultivating maximum functional expertise is the name of the game. And that is, in fact, an obstacle that is standing in the way of you having the executive presence and leadership, signaling that leadership and potential for the next level. The behaviors that you need to be demonstrating as a leader at the SVP level are different from the behaviors that you are demonstrating when you're just trying to be the best functional expert. Okay, so give that some thought, but more importantly, audit yourself, audit the way you're showing up, audit the things that you're building your identity around. Many of you have built an identity around being a functional expert, always having the answer. You feel smaller when someone asks you a question and the answer is, I really don't know. And yet, I guarantee you can think about 10 leaders right now you've worked with who didn't have the answers, but it didn't stop them from being vocal and visible in the organization. So much to explore there, okay? But that's an important skill you need to be cultivating, is how to become the obvious choice for next promotion. No matter how long you've been there, no matter what the stated policies are, you are the number one candidate for the next promotion. Are you a driven, high-achieving female leader who is ready to land her skip-level promotion to director, VP, SVP, and above? Then I want to invite you to join us inside the Career Catapult Executive Coaching Program. Inside this program, you will receive all of the coaching, the strategies, the mentorship, the thought partnership, accountability, and community required to catapult you to the next level in your career in a matter of months so that you can have exponential income, impact, and well-being. Enrollment is by application only, so visit cycprogram.com to apply. That's cycprogram.com to apply, and I cannot wait to see you on the inside. Let's go to number 3. We're talking about the elements that need to be part of your plan if you are going to be at your pinnacle in your required or your preferred timeline, okay? Number 3 is, do you know how to pivot and catapult externally at the same time? Pivot and catapult externally at the same time. What does this mean? It means that when you choose at a time of your choosing, you know exactly how to pick up both feet and move to a brand new company, a brand new industry, and be able to catapult, not a lateral, not a demotion, but get a promotion while you are at it. And be able to do that in 8, maybe max 12 weeks. That is another important skill you need to be cultivating and honing, how to pivot and catapult externally at the same time. See, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, well, let me just go join the company first. I'll take whatever role I can get, even if it means a demotion, even if it means less money, even if it means a stagnant, a lateral. I'll do that, and then I'll prove myself, and then I'll move back up. And I've talked to so many people, smart people, talented people, who have had that game plan and have found themselves almost kind of restarting their career every single time they move. You need to be able to pivot and catapult and not have it be a lateral. Okay, not have it be a lateral. See, you can't get to the C-suite in 15 years if you're taking the same job 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. That is time just passing. So do you know how to do that in 8 to 12 weeks at a time of your choosing? There's an important skill there. This requires that you know how to be marketable. You know how to take the elements of what you've done in your career and speak to it in a way that is succinct, clear, compelling, convincing, that gets someone to take action, that gets someone to say, I want this person on my team ASAP. I'm willing to break the rules. I'm willing to pay more. I'm willing to have them not relocate, all the different things, because this is the person I've been looking for. And so if you have been the person, maybe you've been you interview for a position and you are at the 11th hour, you've interviewed with 16 different people, you've had all these different conversations, only then to be told at the end of the day, oh, we went with a different candidate who had more experience. It had nothing to do with the experience. It probably has to do with the fact that you have not figured out how to transfer the skills that you have, how to tell a story in a way that takes the audience into account. See, one of the blind spots a lot of us have is that we place so much pride and ego in the things that we've done, the things that we've done in our careers, such that when we're talking to somebody about those things, we're not taking time or care to speak the language they understand. We're simply just pontificating on all of our accomplishments, thinking that that person, because they're nodding and nodding along with you and smiling, that they're resonating. Meanwhile, they may not be. They may just be being polite. See, these are the tough conversations that aren't really had. And I want you to know that I want you to know the truth. I want you to have the information you need so that you can measure success accurately. You have to know how to create the kind of brand externally that appeals to the person that you're talking to and gets them to think, I want this person as my next SVP. I want this person as my next chief of operations, whatever it is. Okay, so that's number 3, pivoting and catapulting externally at the same time in a matter of weeks. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 is that you need to have an actual career development plan, roadmap, document, right? An actual strategy document to the C-suite. You need a career strategy document to the C-suite. I'm not talking about just thinking about it in your head and just kind of seeing what happens and seeing what you're offered. I'm talking about a document that has those words on it, that has content. See, here's the thing. Many of us, we are really good at planning projects. Every single job you have, even if your title doesn't say project manager, you're probably a great project manager. Okay, because all of our work really is planning projects and executing projects, if you really come down to it, right? So we've learned all these really great project management tools and systems. But when it comes to our own careers, the biggest project of all, we leave it up to chance. We don't put things down on paper. We don't do all the fancy tools that we use in our careers for other people's projects. You don't do that for yourself. And I'm trying to figure out why we do that. Your career is the biggest project. Write it down. Have an actual strategy document that lays out what you plan to do year after year. What's my next move? What are the top 3 things this next job has to have for me to even consider it? You are 25% more likely to accomplish something just because you wrote it down. Just because you wrote it down. At the very least, you have something to come back to on those tough days where you can't even really think about the goal. You have something that you can read and bring yourself back to the feeling of when you wrote it. So you're making a big mistake if you don't have an actual document that has the words career development, roadmap, strategy, blueprint, guide, whatever it is you want to call it. But this needs to lay out your plans for the future, your plans for the next role. What is the job that I want next? What are the key experiences I must have in this job that position me for the next one? When do I want that job? How much money do I want to make? Where am I right now in terms of the pay bands? These are important strategy questions you must ask yourself if you are serious and intentional about getting to the C-suite in a matter of 15 years, right? And so think through that. Do you have an actual document? Do you have any of these details? And how are you making decisions on the jobs that you're taking? That's really important. It's a really important step. Last but not least, is you need to learn how to make winning decisions in your career and in your life. How to make winning decisions in your career and in your life. You will be confronted, approached with so many decisions in your career and in your life. Should I take this job? Should I ask for more money? You know, even in your life, not just your career. Should I marry this person? You know, should I bring on help to help me with the kids? I mean, so many important decisions that you are faced with. And so how are you making those decisions? Most people don't have a decision-making process, a sound decision-making process. They go about asking everybody else what they should do. They ruminate and, you know, just think about it over and over and over and over again. They catastrophize. There's so many things that we do that are really unfavorable, right? So you need to know, how do I make winning decisions? When I'm faced with these decisions that are inevitable, how do I decide in the best way possible, in a way that is efficient, that is effective, and likely lands me in the outcome that I want? That is a skill, because again, most people that you talk to do not have a process. They go about making decisions from a place of fear. They ask everybody what they should do. They look to see what everybody else is doing, and they just kind of follow along. Or worse yet, they don't make a decision. They just sit and run out the clock until whatever timeline has passed and nothing was done. You need to have a sound decision-making process that you can point to that helps you make those important decisions in your career and in your life. And these are the 5 elements that everyone really needs to have. These are the 5 skills you need to master if you are going to have maximum intention about how you're navigating your career and your life. Listen, I truly believe that there's so many things you could be doing with your time here on earth. So many things you could be doing with your time on earth. And so if you are going to be spending your time in this way in your career, make it count. Make it count maximally. You know, take every opportunity, take every advantage. Do not leave anything on the table. But for that to happen, you need to be super intentional. You cannot leave this up to chance. This cannot be happenstance, because the goals and the desires and the dreams that you have for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your legacy are too big to leave up to the mercy of others, up to chance. Right? You are here to have those things that you desire. They wouldn't be desires of your heart otherwise, but they won't just happen. You've got to make them happen. And I know that you are capable. I know that you are uniquely suited for leadership. Go get them. So if you have found value in our conversation so far, I want you to know that we actually go deeper on each of these 5 elements inside our free Catapult Your Career Bootcamp. This is our bootcamp that we do a few times a year only, okay? Completely free, 1 hour a day, over 5 days. We dive in deep into each of these topics, your mindset, okay? How to become the obvious choice. What exactly do you need to be doing step by step by step? How do you pivot and catapult externally step by step? How do you have this career development plan? What does it look like? What does it contain? And how do you make a sound decision? What are the steps involved in making a sound decision. We cover all of this and more inside our free Catapult Your Career Bootcamp. So go ahead and register by visiting thecatapultbootcamp.com, thecatapultbootcamp.com, snag your spot and register for the next upcoming event. And I cannot wait to see you there. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, I have 2 small favors to ask of you. Number 1, subscribe to the show so you never miss a thing. And number 2, leave us a review. This helps other women leaders discover us more easily.